Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Joined here by my brother Andreas, all the way from Cyprus. Andreas, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Daniel, for the opportunity so we can make Cyprus famous.
Make Cyprus famous again.
Yes, I want to clarify that Cyprus is not part of Greece. It is an independent country and just speaks Greek. Thank you again for inviting me to the podcast. I want to apologize for my weird English accent. It's been a long time. It's been a long time that I had the chance to talk English for more than 15 to 20 minutes. Uh, so, excuse me for that, and thank you for your patience.
Your English is very good. Certainly, way better than my Greek would be. So, thank you for doing this in English. But it's I mean, it's great to chat to you because we've been connected, and I know that you're a smart guy and have lots to share. But also for my audience, which of course is mostly people in Canada and North America, there are differences in culture, obviously, and just opinions in the way that we do things in the rest of the world and North America, as with every country. So I appreciate you doing this, and again, especially for doing it in English, which is huge. So yeah, you have been bulking recently, though. Tell me about how
I'm
that's going.
still in bulking. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
bulking.
What's the best bulking food then?
The best bulking tip:
Food.
be consistent. It will be difficult. It will be difficult. There are nights that I don't sleep well, but be consistent. That is the best tip. Even if you don't feel like eating, don't push yourself to it. Don't push yourself to it. That is never a good advice, to push yourself to it. And let it aside, take a mini break, then you can resume eating.
Hmm. I think people actually underestimate how difficult it is to do a bulk like on purpose. I mean, lots of people are bulking up by accident and not in a good way. But if you're intentionally trying to eat more, it's actually very difficult. How do you then, like, what are some tricks you have, if there's specific foods or strategies or anything that allows you to keep eating more even when you don't really feel like it, without forcing yourself too hard?
So a really good trick that I had in the beginning of the bulk that I was struggling is smoothies.
Hmm.
Making a smoothie, peanut butter smoothie, banana, and with honey, too many calories and very easy to drink. Drink your calories rather than eating them. And now I've reduced a bit my calories, so I'm in a smaller surplus. So I'm still in a surplus. So it's a bit easier for me to be in a surplus without being too pressured to it.
Makes sense. And that the funny part about saying that and talking about bulking is, like, the exact opposite advice is probably good advice for weight loss. Like, most people trying to lose
Exactly.
weight, you should not drink your calories. Like, have a protein shake, but don't put a big spoon of peanut butter and honey and chocolate chips and other stuff in it. Like, just the protein and the water, and be done with it.
It helps with bulking that I'm a foodie guy. I just love food. I love food.
Is that something that, like, so I know that you've talked about this before, but you used to be chubbier as a kid, and this was something that you dealt with. You always loved food. Was that something that like, was it really hard for you to lose weight initially, to get over this love of food and wanting to eat? And if so, how did you do that?
So it wasn't hard. It wasn't as hard as people um, imagine it being. Because when I lost weight, when I was fat from 10 until 15 years old. than 16. At 15 years old, I've begun my boxing journey. So I was training 3 times a week for an hour. And because it was so high intensity, I couldn't eat then. I couldn't eat after.
Hmm.
I didn't feel the need to eat. So I just did this for 6 to 8 months and I've lost 10 to 15 kgs. Then I've had my first competition in boxing where I was pretty traumatized because I was lost in the ring, but I also lost the match. It was my first experience in
Right.
front of a crowd. It was just, where am I? It was a good experience though. Everything I learned from boxing, I still implement today in my everyday life and in my coaching.
Hmm. How long did you compete in boxing for?
I've been competing for 6, 7-ish years, but I was an active. I was doing my training for about 10 years. I've just recently stopped about a year ago.
How come you stopped?
So, so I'm 25 now in about a month.
Hmm. Hmm. How come you stopped?
I've said that I don't want to take more punches in the head.
Yeah, that's a pretty that's a pretty fair answer. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So in your journey of, did you start boxing because you wanted to start losing weight? Was that part of it, or did you just like boxing as a kid and you just started to get into it?
Before I went to the boxing gym, I never knew a name of a boxer. Just
Hmm.
Muhammad Ali, that was very famous. I also have him tattooed here.
Hmm.
Also Mike Tyson and Canelo Alvarez. So the main reason that I've started boxing was losing weight. Also, I was never a confident kid, but when I started boxing, everything changed.
Right. Um. Yeah. I mean, I think stories like this are super common, and so this also made it. The reason I'm struggling with my words here is because I think that some people will hear that and say, "Oh, well, it's so easy. You know, you were 15, you started boxing, you didn't even really. It was easy to lose weight, and sure, it's easier when you're 15 than if somebody is 30 or 40 years old. You're probably not just going to go start competing in boxing when you're 42 years old and you have a couple kids and whatever." Um, but there is something to be said about starting to train, whether it's boxing or just weightlifting or running or any other type of training, and letting that be the beginning catalyst for making changes in your life. So, where I'm going with this is, when people come to you, do you typically start them off by, and it'll depend on the individual, of course, but by making changes to their nutrition or adding an exercise, or will you start with a mix of both? Where do you like to start?
It depends on the individual. So if someone was an athlete before, but is struggling a lot with nutrition, I'll start with implementing some nutrition advice. So if someone was never in the gym and is also struggling with nutrition, I always start with the gym. Because
Mm,
if they were never consistent in the gym and never consistent in their nutrition, getting consistent in the gym is much easier and it reflects way more than I ever thought in nutrition. So what I saw is, if you get consistent in the gym and you are disciplined and you see some changes, then you want to see some more changes. So you say, okay, I'm here, I'm perfect here, I can do this, I can do that. What else can I change?
and it
That's what
feels
I've
like
seen.
less. Yeah, yeah, no, I completely agree with you, because it also, it feels more positive, whereas nutrition changes typically are like, negative. You have to stop eating cookies, stop eating dessert, stop drinking wine. But training is you get to add things. It's a little bit
Mhm.
more fun than eating healthy, quote unquote. And it's easier because it's less. You only have to train maybe 3 times a week. Eating, you have to do it right, quote unquote,
Mhm.
3 times a day. That's it's a lot harder just based on the numbers.
That's a big mistake that I've seen also from nutritionists, that they say, cut this out, cut this out, cut this out. To clarify, I'm not a nutritionist, so I do not give out meal plans. I just give nutritional guidelines to my
Mm-hmm.
clients. So what I tell them to do if they are struggling with sweets or savories is, okay, you can eat one and add more fruit that day. So you eat more fiber, add more chicken, add more beef, add more tofu if you are vegetarian.
I don't think any vegetarians
So
listen to this podcast.
yes.
They would have been too mad with me by now. But yes, you're right. Yes, adding in nutrition things also works the same way. I agree with that statement that it's like it's people are quick to take things away, and like that's the thing that will move the needle more. This is why like starting with exercise, and even if it's just adding in more steps, not even necessarily training, but just adding in steps because it's positive, but also we can remove some things from nutrition, but we can add things as well. Right?
Mhm.
What are some other big things
Ye-
you picked up from boxing?
I picked up from boxing.
Yeah.
People think that boxing is a lonely sport. It is basically a team sport because you have a coach, you have your teammates that support you. You cannot box without a team. So what I got that from boxing is that in business you can't do everything alone. I
Mm.
can be a coach, I can be a trainee, I can be whatever I want, but I can't do anything if I don't have support. So the people that come to me to train them, they are my support and I am theirs. So it is a team thing.
Yeah, that's a big lesson to learn, especially for us as entrepreneurs who work for ourselves. It's like I know that I certainly get in this trap all the time of I want to do everything by myself, and if I don't do it, it's not good, and I'm the only one who can do anything the right way that I want it, and if I don't do it, it doesn't get done, and like I just want to drive the ship, and it's almost like a badge of honor to say that I did it all by myself rather than reaching out for help or hiring somebody or working to whatever the case is. um, but every time I get over myself with that, then things work out way better. And it's the same with coaching, right? How many people have you trained that like just by hiring you in one day, they already start to be, okay, I do have time for the gym, okay, I can make a change, and you didn't even advise anything, they just reached out for help, and all of a sudden they're helping themselves.
Exactly. I can feel you 100% on what you just told, but that you want to do everything by yourself. I was you 6 months ago before I hired my videographer and my editor. I used if you go back in my page, you'll see my old content. I post every day, every day, every day. So consistency beats intensity every time.
Mm-hmm.
So hiring my videographer was the biggest game changer I've seen in my time. Not editing my reels, my videos, my pictures. I still post my own stuff, carousels, etc. But not having to edit my videos saved me maybe years.
For real. Yeah, I feel that there was the same thing for me when um I have someone I work with that does clips for the podcast, and for me, it was a big. It was always like the thing that I. It took me the longest to do, not because it's the most difficult, just because I would have to go back and listen to the episode after I already posted it, then find the timestamps of nice clips that I think are good, and then edit them. But just by outsourcing that to pay someone else to do it, they've turned out way better since than before than I was doing them. And if you scroll back like more than a year, that's when I was still doing them. They're way better now, and they get done more, and it's like a little bit of money, but way less of like time and like emotional drain and headache kind of thing. So it's just an
Mm.
expense, but it helps a lot. Yeah.
Yes, especially the energy draining thing. Oh my God. I'm starting to learning about how to run ads, and
Hmm.
it's a headache. And email marketing. Oh my God.
there's too many things to do, and this is like it in fitness is the same thing. Is everything is figure outable. You can go and Google and find all the workouts and all the chat GPT and all of the nutrition stuff and whatever. But just by hiring a coach to be able to kind of talk you through it and figure it out for you, it's still going to be difficult, but way less difficult than trying to do everything on your own. So it's a good lesson from boxing that you've taken, and of course it applies to business, but it also will apply to your fitness and to like basically anyone else's fitness as well, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Any
One
other
more
big
thing that
lessons that you
I've
took from
picked
boxing?
up from boxing, one more thing that I've picked up from boxing is to never give up.
Mm,
That's what I've told you a couple of minutes ago. Consistency beats intensity every time. So even if you are injured, even if you don't have the energy to train, even if you don't want to train, even if you don't feel like it, or all of them together, just go, just be present, just do 5 minutes. And if you want, if you all you're gonna do is just show up and do 5 minutes, that's okay. It's okay to suck, but it's not okay to skip.
mm. I like that. I like that a lot. For sure, with boxing, let me ask you this about boxing. Was it easier for you to train when you knew that you had a fight or a competition coming up
Yes.
versus just training just to train? And how do you start to, if you're not competing now, how do you do that for yourself now?
So when I had a competition in Cyprus, we don't have many competitions throughout the year. So it was three. Now it has about six.
Hmm.
In Russia, there is a competition every 2 weeks. So you need to train all year round to be fit for all those competitions. And you
Right.
just pick to the important ones. In Cyprus, all of them were important because it was just three.
Right.
So it was much easier to train when I had a goal, when I had something to look forward to. So I will be fighting 14th of October, uh, 2017. So that day I need to be at my best. So I took about 2 months to prepare, and I was very, very consistent. Usually, when the fight ends, when the weekend that is the fighting ends, I had a week off, and some of those week offs became month offs.
For sure. I bet. Yeah. And then how did you get back into? So did you have to get ready for the next competition, and that was the thing that got you back in?
Actually, my coach just called and told me, "Where are you? You need to come back." Okay, I'm come.
That's right. That's right. So how do you do that for yourself now since you're not competing? Do you pick dates or pick goals? Like how do you goal set for yourself so that you're motivated to actually keep going?
There is a catch. I'm always competing with myself.
Hmm.
I'm always competing with, I wanna be better than yesterday. So one thing that I use is for my Instagram. I've set a goal that I'll post every day. So sometimes I post twice a day. Other days that I don't have any ideas, I just post once. So I didn't skip. I never skip. I have also set income goals. I've also set working time goals on my computer. So I set the daily goals first and try to complete them. If I don't complete all of them, I try to complete at least 70% of them.
Fair, fair. And with training specifically, do you do the same? You'll set training goals and make sure that you're hitting those, and you map it out.
I've set a goal to gain weight, so I'm tracking my calories. My phone broke a couple of days ago, and you can't imagine how many steps back it brought me because I had to use my old phone. My old phone is always burning. It's too much temperature, too hot. I can't use my calorie tracker correctly. So these 2 days, I'm not counting any calories. I just go by meals that I was counting for 90. I had a 90-day streak of not losing a day. Anyway, setbacks are part of the process, and the point is to enjoy the process.
Yeah,
It's okay
but
that it's
after tracking for 90 days, you're probably pretty close on to what you may not be exactly correct, but it's got to be pretty close. That's why I think that tracking calories is really good. Some people love it and to do it all the time. I personally don't, but I have clients who do it every single day, and it's not an issue for them. And but most people, it's still like track calories for like a couple weeks, get a good idea for it, and then you can start to wean yourself, get off of it, and you have at least you're going to be at least close enough. And if the results aren't coming,
exactly.
then we know that we need to like get more specific again, to get more precise.
I completely agree with you on that. Many people never calorie track, never. And then they ask themselves why I do not have what I want. And I ask them, what do you do in a day? They tell me, okay, good. How many times per week are you training? 3. Okay, great. How's your program looking? Full body, upper body, lower body. Okay, great. How many calories are you eating? Oh, I never count. Okay, so then you can start from there. And they never want to. So I prepared a video about them for them that is about 5 minutes long and how I prepare my own breakfast. And even that 4 minutes video, 5 minute video, they don't even watch it. Then a week later, they come back to me and the scale didn't move. How many calories were you eating? I didn't track. Okay. How many times did you weigh yourself? So we can see the average. Just twice. Okay. So two things that I want you to do more. Start tracking your calories or your protein or both and weigh yourself a bit more times so we can have a good picture of the averages. Okay. They do that for 2 weeks, they lose 3 kilos.
Like magic. It's almost like I hear exactly what you're saying, and I think every good coach has kind of gone through this, where it's like we say this, okay, this client doesn't do it. We say this, and it's not like we're not inventing anything new. You and I didn't invent a calorie deficit. We didn't invent to weigh yourself every day. We didn't invent, a certain training split or this workout or that exercise or whatever it is. And sometimes it's like people need to make, we talked about this before we start recording, but people need to make some mistakes on their own, and then so they can discover these things, like on their own, so to speak, but even though it came from us. And I'll tell you a funny story. And to anybody listening to this, I hope this catches the right person at the right time because it's happened a number of times. But I have my clients and I tell them, whatever things with nutrition, coach them their way or specific to them, of course. And sure enough, like you and like everybody else, I'll have clients, oh, I didn't do this. I didn't track my calories. I didn't do this. Okay, fine. Then out of the blue, they'll say, I heard you say, as in me, I heard you say on the podcast that I should do this. So I started doing this. And I said, yes, but I told you that 15 times individual to you. But somehow that I said it on the podcast that's for free for everybody. Now it clicks somehow. And this has happened a number of times. It's very funny every time it happens. And I'm happy that it happens. But all of this is a long-winded way of saying that, like, the reason why I think we keep saying these messages over and over and over and over again is because it's going to hit the right person at the right time, like when they need it, in the right mind frame that they're in the context of whatever's happening in their life. And so there's no magic. We just need to keep repeating this until it sinks in for everybody. So if you're struggling with something and you keep thinking, oh, I know what I should do, but I haven't, keep listening to the messages, keep engaging in the content. And at some point it's going to click for you. And it may be, signing up for boxing lessons that is the trigger, or something else that is the ultimate trigger for you. But like Andreas is saying here, like, consistency is going to win. So even if it's not perfect, just keep going, keep staying in the game, keep showing up, keep listening to things, and like eventually it's going to click. And that's my long-winded spiel. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
I completely agree with you. So I'm a huge advocate of repeating the same thing with just different words. Because
Mm.
that is a quote from Alex Hormozzi that people need to be reminded more than to be taught. And after hearing that, I scrolled back through his content, and he just said the same thing, but just different words. And every book I I've read from him, it says the same thing. His content, the same thing. His YouTube, the same thing. It's just different words. And so people listen to the same message many times, and at some point you can implement it.
Yes, but you have to keep put yourself in the game, put yourself in the arena to be able to receive that. That's, I think, maybe the missing piece. But if people are listening to this and stuff like this, then they're already there. So give yourself a pat on the back for for doing a good job, for even listening to this and for being here. Another thing that I want to talk to you about, Andres, how did your confidence change for yourself, or just the way that you felt about yourself, about your body, your attitude about yourself once you started competing in boxing and lost the weight? How did that change internally for you?
That's a very, very good question. Because my confidence didn't change when I started competing. Because when I started competing, I've lost. And it, it, it dragged me down. But something else got me to push further. So late 2018, early 2019, I've started the gym. I've started going to the gym. Uh, in supplementation of my boxing training. So I wasn't training 6 times a week in the gym. I just did twice. And I didn't even train specific to the sport. I didn't even do strength and conditioning. I've
Mm-hmm.
later found out about sports specific training, which is a bit of a myth, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Uh, but strength and conditioning is kind of different of traditional strength training. More plyometrics, more power training. Anyway, when I got into the gym, that's when my real confidence started growing. I felt stronger. I felt more athletic. I could see my abs with muscles, not just without fat. Because I've been through all of shapes and sizes. I was chubby. I was fat, then I was skinny fat. Then I've got muscles and I've said, wow, that's when my confidence started growing. And
Mm.
when my confidence started growing in the gym, it started I started being more consistent with my boxing training, and I also got better in my boxing training. Then I started winning fights.
Interesting. Okay, tell me more about this because I think this is a super underrated thing that people don't realize is that sometimes you're not going to be very motivated, or it's like people don't love. They say I don't like working out, and I think the way to start to enjoy working out is to start making progress at working out. And so
Of course.
you don't really love the process. You like the end result. I think the whole process thing is a little bit overrated. But you say, okay, I can bench press 10 more kilos than last week. That's actually a big jump in 10 kilos, but 10 more pounds maybe than last week. You know, you start to see muscles. You're in the arms of your shirt are a little bit tighter. Maybe your abs start to pop through, and you start to feel these things, and you notice these progressions week to week, and you say, okay, how can I get in there and get 10 reps at 100 kilos? How can I get in there and add one more kilo to my bench press or to my squat or whatever? And that's the thing that I think keeps people coming back. And then it spills into everything else. So I'm so happy you said that.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. When I started making more progress in the gym, I was the most happy that I remember myself, except from this time, even though my phone broke 2 days ago.
Yeah, making the progress is massive. I think another thing that just kind of maybe flew under the radar of what you said there is this difference of being like skinny fat and being strong. Like it's one thing to be like skin and bones and be really skinny and maybe have abs. It's another thing to be strong and muscular and still have abs. And this is where building muscle comes in so importantly, rather than just trying to like starve yourself to diet all the fat away. It's like you have to actually train. Did you start training? Probably not because you were so young and maybe didn't know better at the time. But were you trying to build muscle, or were you just going to the gym just to go and see what happens?
No, I was just going to the gym just to get more stronger. I didn't,
Yeah.
I haven't made any research. And through my Instagram page, I found boxing science. The now boxing science works with world champions. So I've made a couple of workshops with them. I've also
Mhm.
made a 6 month online mentorship with them. I've also went to 7 3 times. They're based in the UK. This is not an ad. I'm not sponsored. They just, mm, they do have great uh, content. And also I've learned many things from them. I've learned more from them in sports science in comparison to my 4 year degree in sports science.
Yeah,
Uh,
I hear that for sure. So unfortunately, you know, no matter where you are in the world, you know, kinesiology or sports science degrees don't. I mean, it's good. I don't regret my formal education. I think it was helpful, and I was a little bit lucky. But most of what you learn to actually help real people in the real world, or even help yourself, is going to come from experience and like other types of mentorship rather than sitting in a classroom and learning.
of course. Also in Gordon and Mike, I've learned a lot from them that I can apply to my business.
Hmm. Yeah, real. This is the other thing with even with people trying to find out all the information. Like, do you have clients that come to you with kind of like paralysis analysis, where they're trying to? There's so much information out there, and actually, the best thing is like, well, just start doing stuff. Just start going to the gym and just like mess around and see what happens. Start trying stuff with your nutrition. Just mess around, see what happens, rather than trying to be like perfect and like a surgeon with everything. There's no perfect way. You got to get in there and just try stuff, and you'll find the thing that works best for you that way.
Exactly. There is a guy that sent me a message yesterday because I'm now doing a giveaway because I've reached 5K followers, on my
Hmm.
Instagram page. So I've decided to make a giveaway, and I'm giving away 4 weeks of personal training. And there is a guy that sent me a message and told me that he's been going to the gym in 9 months now consistently, and he doesn't see much progress. When I asked him about his progress, he's gained 4 kgs of muscle mass, 4 kgs of muscle mass, and lost 4 kgs of fat. And I've told him that this is insane progress.
Yeah.
Gaining 4 kgs of muscle mass is extremely hard. Is
In only
extremely hard.
9 months.
So
It's yeah.
when we set goals, it is very important to set realistic goals so
Did
we
you ever
don't
find
get
yourself
discouraged, people.
exactly? Did you ever find yourself early in your fitness journey getting in that trap of seeing people on social media or whatever that, they're super jacked, the elite people, and you think, oh, I want to be like them. I've been training for 6 months and now I'm discouraged because I only gained a couple pounds or a couple kilos. I want to gain 25 pounds of muscle. It's like, then you realize it's just not realistic. It's not real. And maybe it is with steroids and with other things, but for most people, regular people, like nobody's gaining
Yes,
25 pounds of muscle in a year.
I can remember there was a time that when Vishnu uh, was popular, and
Yeah.
I kind of fall into the trap of mesomorph, ectomorph, and I was like, wow, this is magic, and I have to do this, and I have to do that. Uh, Thankfully, I couldn't be consistent on that one, so I didn't fall deep into the trap.
That's funny. I haven't heard that name in a while. Yeah, I mean, all of those things are. It's that's a whole nother topic, and we can get really upset about these kind of things. But it's like, yeah, they're helping people, and it gets you in, but you got to be realistic about the goal. So, like losing, about a pound a month or about a pound a week, rather. So it's like ends up as maybe like 2 kilos a month kind of thing. It's like a pretty good clip of fat, and then gaining muscle maybe like half of that. But being realistic about your goals is is super important, so you don't get discouraged while you're trying to encourage yourself, right?
Exactly, exactly.
There's one more thing that I wanted to ask you about, and you posted about this actually today or earlier today, and it was a few things about yourself, but one of the things that you said was that you should always do more than what is required of you. Tell me about what that means to you.
So do more on what is required. It's the principle of under promise and over deliver. When you say to someone that you will be there at 7:30, be there 7:15. So under promise and over deliver. This will earn yourself first the respect and confidence. It will make you gain confidence on say that I prepared for this, I can do this, and I can keep the promises I do to myself. So doing more on what is required. It wasn't required to go 15 minutes earlier, but I did it anyways. So I can feel a sense of confidence that okay, I'm 15 early, so I can prepare more. I can I can calm now. I can be calm.
Yeah,
So
no,
doing more
I think it's
is
important.
always better than not doing anything.
Absolutely, and this will take people very far with their own fitness as well, right? Is like not trying to overshoot it too much, but at the same time, at least keeping the promises that you're making to yourself. You said you were going to get to the gym. You said you were going to, have a protein shake, have a protein shake. Like whatever the things are, make sure that you do them. So it makes a ton of sense. But yeah, no, I love that those things that you said about yourself and how that is one thing that's like pretty important to you. So I really appreciate you saying that. Um,
Exactly.
Anything else that you want to talk about before we close this off for today?
There is just one thing, only one. If there is any content creator in our audience, I've made a big mistake in my early stages of creating content. I was creating content to get a confidence boost through my engagement. Don't create content to please yourself. Create content in to inspire people, to help people. This will give you engagement. By helping people, it will help you to grow. That was my giant mistake that I did with creating content. And I didn't even realize it then. Looking back and seeing myself from another perspective,
Mm-hmm.
uh, made me realize that, okay, I've evolved to help people, not myself.
I think that almost everybody makes that same mistake and then comes to realize it after. But it is helpful to hear. I think it's also one of the mistakes that people got to make on their own. You start doing that, and then you realize, oh, this is not about me. That can get you places and whatever, but like not that far, and that's not really where anyone wants to end up. So yeah. So if there's any other coaches or any other people who make content or anything like that listen to this, like that's really good advice. And if you haven't got over that hump yet, you will eventually, but take it to heart for sure. There was something that you wanted to. I know you prepared a lot for this, so again, I appreciate you a ton. Number one, the time zone. It's not too late, but it's late at night where you are. Also, just doing this whole thing in English. I know you're practicing speaking English more through the past week and whatever to prepare this. So I appreciate it a lot. It means a lot to me. I don't think even I don't think anyone realizes how hard it is to do this and how difficult it must be to do in a second language. I don't think I even realize it because I don't even speak a second language to do a podcast in another language. So I appreciate you a ton, and I know that there's something that you did prepare that you wanted to let us know, and so I'll give you the chance to tell us what that is. We kind of already alluded to it, and if you're watching the video, you might get a good clue about something behind Andreas's head there, but let us know what it is.
So, as I've told you before of pressing the record button, I have a huge gift for your audience. That is a free book. A couple of months ago, I've made a big purchase and a big investment on Alex Hormoz's new book, and I purchased the package that I can donate 199 books. So I'll share the link with Daniel. So anyone that wants a free book is the $100 million money models. I think I have it somewhere here. Uh, you can read it. It's a good business book. So I'll give it for you for free. One more thing that I want to clarify is that Cyprus is not part of Greece. It is an independent country. This is a misconception in the whole world. Uh, but we do speak Greek as our first language. So we always have the Greek part in us, but in the world we are Cyprus, not Greece. But we do have a Greek part in us.
I think everybody in the world has a little bit of Greek part in them. Just saying, some more than others, but it is an important distinction to make, and like something that I was telling you before, people like it's not Cyprus is not a country that's very often in the news here in North America. For better or worse, there's many countries that are not in the news. Some countries get way more spotlight than others, but Cyprus is not one of them
No,
for whatever reason. But it is an important distinction. But here's another thing I'll say. I'm happy that you're making that distinction because it's nice to see people who are proud of their country and where they're from and their heritage and these things. I would imagine like you're born in Cyprus, of course, your parents, your grandparents all born in Cyprus.
Yes, yes. Cyprus is a great island. Yeah, 10 out of 12 months is sunny. See, it's October and I still have uh, today was too hot for me, and it's end of October. So it also have low taxes in general.
Hmm.
For foreigners, it is much lower than for us. So there is an extra reason to locate to Cyprus if you want, or open a business in Cyprus. With a 300,000 investment, you can also get a passport for it and be in Cyprus just for 2 months. So you'll get many benefits. Sun, beach. So Cyprus
Good
is a great
food.
country in general. The only thing that Cyprus is not so great is fitness. Uh, Above 50% of the population is not exercising, and
Mm.
most probably in the whole world. So, a good message to close this is just start exercising. Much more benefits in your health, in your psychology, in changes in your body. You get a stronger bones, strong muscles, uh, fat loss, anything. Whatever you dream of, strength training is the answer. Also, walking, also sleeping well. Just do one of those three, then add the other one.
I love that. That's a great message and a great place to end off, and brings the whole thing full circle that we're in different parts of the world, but there's a lot of good and bad similarities. The bad one being that not enough people are exercising, and too many people are overweight and unhealthy and not doing things to take control of their health. I don't know what the numbers are in Cyprus, but I know in Canada here, there was a report that just came out the other day or last couple weeks ago, whatever, that 68% of people in Canada are overweight or obese. I know that in the US, it's a little bit higher than that. I would imagine in various other countries in the world, it's maybe a little bit lower than that, but probably not that much lower. And so hopefully if this podcast gets even one more person to start exercising or start eating better or something, then we've done a good job. But hopefully we'll get hundreds and thousands and millions of people to start exercising and enjoy all of the incredible benefits to your life. Forget fitness, forget the gym, forget having a six pack, just the way that this impacts your life so positively, that I've experienced, that Andreas, you've experienced, and that all of our clients have experienced, and that many other people have experienced. But if you can get that too, then we will be very happy people, because that's all we want, just to make your life better, right?
Exactly.
Boom. Good. Very good, my friend. I will put the link for the 100 the Hormozy book, which I've also read. Just as an aside, I got it. It's amazing. It's awesome. If you are in business, in any kind of business, I would highly recommend it. And also, I would even say if you want to just be like an informed consumer, uh, which is I think is a little bit underrated and a totally separate topic. I think it's a good book, and it's free anyways. Thanks to Andreas. So I'll put the link to that in the show notes. What's your handle on Instagram? I forget what it is. I think it's just your name, but I'll put it in the show notes as well. What is it?
Yes. Andreas with a D underscore Chrysouliotis. That's my surname. Chrysoulioutis.
I will put it in the show notes so you don't need to remember how to spell it. You can just click on it there for everybody. But Andreas, thank you very much for being here, brother. I appreciate you a ton again, and for doing this with the time zone and doing it in English. It means a lot that you do this with us. So I appreciate you very much, man.
Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate you too.
Thank you guys all for listening. Make sure you're following Andreas on Instagram and all the other places. Like, share, subscribe to the podcast, and help spread the message. And for your next vacation, definitely, if you're in North America, look at taking a visit to Cyprus and message Andreas, and he'll tell you the best place to stay, the best place to eat, and all the best things to do. And we can. What did we say at the beginning? Make Cyprus famous again.
Great.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time. Go outside. Be a good person. See you soon.